Okay, cool. Let's see. I got everything set up. Check if all my windows are. My mic in the right place. Muting and pausing all my videos. Hey, that's funny. That's better. There we go. Nice. Right. It looks like I'm ready to start. And it looks like I actually have 2 systems open. Let's close one down. There we go. Luckily it makes not a big deal out of that. Alright, so tonight I'm gonna be doing some Unreal 4 work, and the first thing we're gonna work on is updating this splining question, namely the rather, very crude way of handling this thing here, the banking. So I believe I have a clue on how to do that. And of course, I made a comment of it. Comments are super easy and super handy to making your project. Because let's start by walking through this thing. It takes the let's see. It takes the current loop index, which is stored, and it's gonna give a start and an end roll value to a mesh segment. But over here you have a float that's coming out, and this is your bank. Let's see. Oh yeah, that was the thing. Yeah, over here I do the exact, I take the floor and then I input that as the, as the start position for the current mesh. And then for the end roll, I take the next point and I also take the floor. So what we have is let's see. I'm gonna grab my pen for a second. Gonna be able to make notes. And I made some notes on paper, but let's see if I can. Yeah, because I made a note here, but I don't think that quite correct in it. What it's telling me. Let's see. I want to set it. I'm gonna make sure that I have a couple of data points that I can read, because if I try to run it and read it, it's gonna complain that the variables are not in scope. So there's of course a way for me to deal with that. You're an int. And this is the floor. Alright. Then I set it. There we go. Compile. Let's see. Okay, so short disclaimer, I am not the absolute best at mathematics stuff, so it is going to be, you know, a little bit of a slow process, but I'm going to get there in the end. Start. Okay, so currently we're here, and it's still complaining that right. I learned something important. Shouldn't be local at all. Test float start bank. Okay, we're gonna set it. There we go. Gonna do set this, promote variable. Test int start bank floor. Start bank floor, whatever. Ta-da. Okay. Let's try this again. Yeah, I know you are afloat. Okay. Let's see. Alright, I probably should have... Yeah. so can go. Because the spline generates at runtime, so I don't actually, you know, can get it to print stuff. Hey, awesome! Welcome, welcome back, Super. How are you doing today? I'm just setting up some data points so I can, you know, read this out at some point. If you're wondering what I am making, feel free to ask. Alright, do I want one more? Oh, just setting a couple of stuff here. Should go. I'm doing good as well. This is the current mesh, right? Yes, yes. It's I'm doing a little bit of an easy, well, easy, yeah. A bit more chilled out stream today, because I had to choose between either working on the mech model, which I'm a bit stuck on, or trying to continue with this this spline thing. I don't know if you've seen it, but I am working on this this spline model. So I chose because I don't want to have to puzzle with a, you know, an actual transformer today, because it's really warm outside. I'm a bit tired. I've decided to just work on this Unreal Engine 4 spline system. So that's what we're doing right now. And let's see. Were you aware of? I don't know. Did you catch me working on this before? Do you know the thing that we left off at? Ah, see, it is making it. Here we are. Test, and this is result. We're gonna call that test result. Okay, compile, and I can remove this breaking point because everything is going to be kept in place except for, you know, it's going to stop at the last one. Okay, and let's see, so the current value is 16. Aha, right. Yes. Well, this thing is a. Oh wait, I'm in process right now. So yeah, let's get back to this on the screen right now. I am working on the mech. I could probably, yeah, the discs. Let's see. Yeah, don't save. I have nothing. This was the thing that I left off at the last stream. And the purple discs were indeed made at the end, where I was fingling around with the transformation joints as everything moves around. Where, you know, this disc is the knee, and this is the foot, and this is the hip, and this is actually the abdomen, and stuff like that, you know, to get those proportions set up. But as you can see, it's a bit of a mess, and I still haven't being able to carve out a little bit of, you know, a day to actually look at this and set it up. And so I decided, well, tonight I'm not gonna do that, but this is the current process of it. It's a puzzle. It's like a Rubik's cube, but then, you know, you have to make it, and then it has to work because I want to get it printed at some point. So yeah, it's going to require me to just sit there for a day, 6 hours, work on it non-stop, and then it's gonna be good, technically speaking. So in the meantime, we have this. And this is indeed a system you can move around. And this is my favorite, you know, uh, display at the moment, because you can move things around like so, and, you know, alter that. And then you can say, well, I want this to, you know, be turned around, and it turns. I can probably just, let's see. This is 0.4. Let me move to 0.4 and I can move it around a bit. And you can see that it increases the bank amount. So this is actually a hybridization of two different systems that I followed the tutorials on. One had the banking, and the other one had the spacing. And the spacing system is this. If I say, well, let's give this a spacing of, it's now at 70, it's going to have a spacing of 90. Or, well, that's not really, 110. You can see that there are a fewer amount of meshes that are divided over the spline path. And if I were to put it at 50, you'd have a lot of pieces, because these are all singular pieces. So that's a bit what this system is. But what I'm currently working on is the banking, because I merged two systems together. So the multiple meshes inside of the spline per dot, and the banking. I need to have it look at all the meshes and apply the banking evenly between all the meshes in the dots. But that takes some work. Let's see, let's put this back at 70, and let's make it 80. So, and you can see this is, I believe, one mesh. Or might not even. But anyway, I want this mesh, this one right here, that I'm, you know, kind of trying to focus on, because I don't think you see my cursor, but it's in the center of the screen right now with a really, really ugly corner sticking out. Yeah, I want that to kind of bend along as well, to be a little bit more conscious of it. So let's return to that little piece of blueprint here. I'm gonna play it again. And now we can see that the current loop index is 14. I think that's because I altered the value. It was at 70 before. I upped it a little bit to 80. So hey. But let's see. So the current index that it's looking at is 14. The current division value is 14 and a little bit more. And then we get, was it? Need to have a little bit of an update on the formula here. Let's see, because there is a formula involved. Okay. There we go. So we have base modding. Maybe not. Basic smoothing is fine. You're gonna have to suffer my ridiculous handwriting. In combination with the display screen's unfortunate, you know, habit of pixelating everything at a distance. Array is Y. So you can see, or you're going to see, that this mesh, or this formula, is located here. Let's see. So you can see that the dun, 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 times the float division return value, and that's going to be multiplied by the road array, and then this is the result. So we have x is 14 divided by the this is the entire amount of, anyway, doesn't even matter. Like I said, I'm not the best in math, but that's okay. The formula works, but now we have a refresher on that this is the actual formula stuff. And then you get a 7.7 out of this. So the floor of that is 7, and the ceiling of that, I didn't put it in a variable, but the ceiling of it is 8. But it still leaves us with a bit of an issue, that the mesh itself isn't, of course, 7. So I might just actually want to have the but I am feeding right now. I would be feeding 7 to the start rule, so it isn't quite accurate. I wonder what's gonna happen if I no, wait. I'm seeing what we need to do. So let's take that 7.7 back. .7. So it is going to take that number into the array. And arrays, they don't have decimals. So they only have integers. But if I floor this to a 7 and an 8, it's much closer to the 8, so I'd actually like it to take the 8. Right? So it needs to be conscious of if you have a dot 0 to say 4, if we're gonna round 5 up till the ceiling, then it takes the floor. If it takes 5 till 9, it takes a ceiling. And there's gonna be some noise here, I guess. So let me know if that's a problem. And with noise I mean the outside noise. So we're gonna need to have some way of figuring out which one is it going to take. And there are ways to do that. I am just not entirely 100% certain right now what the way is. But that's what we're gonna find out right now. Alright. But now we know what to do and we know what we want with it. Now of course this is going to be a 7.7 and it's going to be either 7 or an 8. And this is going to take this might be handy actually. I think I might have put something in here that's gonna help us do this. Let's see what happens. Let's see what this current value is going to be. If I toggle this breakpoint and I also see why this is a 14 or a 31 even. It's it might just be a little bit too fast. But if it works for 1, it works for 31, it works for 16, it works for 14. That's okay. So the current value is 26.7, which is, you know, just doesn't make any sense at all. Its floor is 13. So the ceiling has to be 14, unless it is betraying me. Let's see. Come on, you can do this. Yes. 13. 14. Then this lurk is weird. Okay, kick it out. It's gonna be useless. Okay, so that method did not work. Anyway, doesn't matter. So I'm gonna add some comments in here just to let us know the numbers that we're working with. And these are fictional numbers. These are not the actual numbers, but these are our little memory numbers that we know what we're looking at. Because I find that if you make things really, really clear on yourself, it helps. Alright, that one can go. Okay, so we have 7.7 and it gets floored to a 7 and it gets sealed to an 8. Alright. I actually want to detract the decimal. Can I split it? No. I mean, I can multiply it by 10 and then we get a 77. And then we have the decimal number, you know, no longer a decimal. If you have any you know, things like, oh well, you have to really do this, feel free to pitch in. Float. I'm having a quick browse through what Unreal has for functions. Because I cannot say that's okay. I still have, you know, I still have a couple of tricks that I can get up to. I just want to be certain that nothing here is going to jump out at me and, you know, present itself as a very obvious solution. No. Yeah, see, this is the thing. Also with text, you can truncate values. And this obviously stating a -1.7 is going to become a -1 a 2.8 is going to be an 8. So this is going to round things down towards the 0 axis. So anything in the minus is gonna go down, or yeah, everything is going. Well, yeah, you get it. It's right there. Let's see. But we have a new, a thing. Google. Google is an awesome tool. Maps, maybe UE4? No. That's visible from Alpha. If you are unfamiliar with the site and, just like me, find yourself often floundering around, just what the hell am I supposed to do here? This site is your best friend. Okay. So, what is my search query going to be here? I want to first gonna try searching within Unreal 4. Yeah, it's the best site. It has everything. I bet it has everything. You can see right here, right? So here, just stuff like that. I learned how to do polar coordinate stuff. Quaternions. If you have like well, from how to do polar coordinates to radians, I think it's radian. Or is it actually just radial? See, so you get explanations, you get formulas, you get everything. And if you get the stuff from here, you can even convert it to Unreal Blueprint. That's what I did. It's gonna take you a hell of a lot of notes to get it, but you can definitely get it. No, what I actually, I don't want to necessarily truncate, but I want to yeah, oh, right. This was indeed the thing I was thinking about when I said, truncate. The purple nodes are strings, so you convert your float to a string, and then you grab the first position of it, because it starts at 0. So 0 in this case would be 7, and then okay, that's not handy. Say our thing was 7.5. If you convert it to a string, then 0.0 would be the 7 and 0.1 would be the 5. So you can look at the 5 and you can get a compare going on. What works, I guess. What's the other stuff it's doing? Because it's a little bit of a crude way, and I might want it elegant. What's this? As currency. Really? Huh? As currency, float, okay, but it says it's deprecated, use as currency. But that's the same thing. As, alright, okay. Yeah, it takes an integer. No, I don't want that. I'm not gonna use that. Okay, option 2. What's option 2 doing? It's so if this was a 7.7, it's going to multiply it by 100, so you get 770. Then you take the floor of it, and then you have your 2 decimals before the dot. Yes, that's also a method I was thinking of, but then times 10. And then you have your oh, this is how to narrow down to 2 decimals. String it is. String it is, guys. We're not gonna string. I'm not gonna you know, truncate. No. No. Let's see. It wasn't math. Utilities. Utilities for string, and we're gonna string is going to contain only numeric characters because we get it from a calculation, and then we see, we can either chop it or pad it, and then we okay. Just gonna be on the safe side here. Gonna have a little bit look at the GUI for string functions, right? Chop. Yeah, right? You can use left or right chop or right chop to remove the first X letters from the left or right side from a string. Left returns the first X letters, while left chop returns the entire string except the first X letters. So what you do is you do a left chop first for 1, so you get your no, wait. I am seeing a problem with this because if the float actually becomes like 100.8 or something, then you cannot remove the first letter because the first number, because then you always have the wrong number. So I have another solution for this. We're gonna multiply this, and we're gonna multiply this by 10, which scoots the last number of the decimal, the first number behind the dot, one step to the left. So it's always the always safe. And then we're gonna convert this to an int. Yeah, it doesn't matter, right? Just gonna floor it again, because now the number is safe. So now we have an integer, and then we do a right. Nice try. It's an int text. Okay, maybe not. There we go. Okay, so we have the 7.7 is going to become 77.0 or dot whatever. Then it's going to become a 77 without anything behind it, no decimals. And then we're gonna take the right of this one, because we always know that the first decimal number that we're gonna use to round it either up or down is going to be on the right side. We're gonna count it from 0, we're gonna check that. UE4 string right. Is the one I need? Yes. Well, a whole lot of good that does us. String to the right of specified location, counting back from the right, end of the word. So 0 is going to avail us with the decimal number. Then we're gonna do a string to integer. And then we're gonna, this is either going to be a 0, a 1, a 2, up all the way to 9. we're gonna compare it. Compare this integer. I want you to compare it to, say, 5. Alright, cool. Next, if it's going to be smaller than 5, I want you to get the floor. Gonna make some space here. However, if you are either equal or larger than 5, you're going to take the ceiling. No kapal. Of course, I probably have to actually do the end of it as well to really get that going on. Okay. And I also, yeah. Well, no, I need to do the end of it. So let's clean up first. And then I'm gonna explain what I just built. So all of this stuff can go. Okay. Actually, I want these two to swap positions. There we go. Okay. So this is that formula. Come on. And let's see, where's my pen? Okay, so we have that 7.7, and then we have we are gonna wrestle a little bit with my screen space so we can actually see the system here. Okay. So we have that 7.7 and we multiply it by 10. So what we get is 7.7.000. So we make it, because this is a float, so we make it an integer, so we get 7.7 as is, and then we take right 0, which means that we end up with 7. Alright, that's this spot right here. And then we compare it to 5. Now if it's because it's 7, it's going to be higher than 5. So it's going to take the ceiling, which is 8. So 7.7 is going to look towards 8. And that's the formula. Now if you were to have a 7.1, it would be a 7. If you were to have a 7.5, it would become an 8 because, yeah, we have to do the cutoff point somewhere. And that's how we do it. And now, of course, I'm also going to be needing to do indeed. Yeah, I used to be the worst at it, and I still am not very good at it. But over time, in college, I was just awful at it, and I also didn't have the confidence and the, you know, the tenacity to actually keep doing this. But I kind of learned that it's possible. It's very, very doable. You just have to keep at it. And you have to look things up. You're gonna have to ask people for help, saying, hey, I'm stuck with this. Can you point me in the right direction? And then, before you know it, you can just make this shit. Okay, so this is for the start point, right? So I'm gonna scooch that over to, you know, something neat and tidy. And I should probably actually have just formed variables for it. But hey. And then this is gonna merge together again. So we're gonna make a view out node and then, you know, set it up. And then we have the exact same thing here. So we already know we're gonna have to copy this one. Give it a little bit more space. That one doesn't work, so we remove it. Okay. And these two can also go. There we go. And then we have this. I'm gonna take this point again, add it. So compare. Compare it with 5. There we go. Okay. Now this is going to be the floor, and this is going to be, or the ceiling, that's going to be floor. This time around, if it is lower than 5, it's going to floor, so it's going to go over this way. If it's going to be, oh, that's why it's turning around in. Yep. Okay, come on. try and at least avert the majority of the spaghetti pasta here. Okay. Okay, I'm not seeing a lot happening here. Is it just me? Yeah, it's very easy to get, you know, pasta going on. And there's nothing wrong with pasta, except you don't really want it in your code. Number 3, maybe I should just also start not putting ridiculous expectations on top of my system. That works. I'm gonna just, you know, assume it works. And by that I mean I'm totally gonna reroute everything behind this. I'm just gonna drop everything back to the way it was before. Because I actually want to see the difference. I bet you do too. Okay, so I made a screenshot. Compile. It does take the same values, does it? Ceiling to ceiling, yeah, it takes the same values. So whatever's going on, it does have an effect. And I do have an inkling it has an effect for the better. Yeah, it does, because this is neatly aligned. The arc here at the top, this area, it's now you know, actually connected. So so well done. Pretty cool. And if we turn this to 60, and I'm going to turn this to, I don't know, 10. What happens? Hey. Amazing. 150? Yeah, it's not going to be looking the best, but I am more than happy with this. And if we say it's going to be 1, see, so it always it's actually, you know, the same thing with Illustrator. Like if you do spline creation to draw your lines, you have to make sure that all the tangents are also kind of neatly aligned. Well, you're not gonna avoid that. That with the 3D version of it, but it's good enough. And that's what matters. I also have a feeling that if I were to have a look at the actual road parts, I don't think they're gonna have... Well, they actually do. Huh. I mean, I was gonna say they don't have a shocking amount of subdivisions, but they actually have enough subdivisions. What happens if I give it some more? Alright. Yeah, that's a mistake. Well, that's certainly interesting. Okay. Gonna divide this up a bit into something a little bit less of a mess. There we go. Okay. So. Export and let's see. Yeah, nice. Date modified. I need to have a quick search for the actual models. Where are you? Re-import. Show and explore. Yeah. It would be perfect if I knew where I actually put the parts. As in the road pieces. I can't remember anymore. This might be here. Could be, maybe. Alright. Let's hope I found it. Yes. Yes, I found it. Yeah, it's gonna be good enough. Okay, cool. This works according to the same system. And of course, the best part of it is you can just add pieces of the road and increase it in size. And it's gonna take the same orientation that the first dot had, from which you altered it. So you're gonna have to keep that in mind. But yeah, this kinda, you know. So of course this leaves us with the ability to actually say, well, hey, I want to do a little bit more of, I don't know, soft selection, give a little bit less fall off here. 3. Okay, so just a heads up, this is a definite no-no. If you normally do this, because you cannot possibly ever align these correctly. But for now, I'm just gonna accept it. As the shoddy workmanship that this is going to be. Alright. Okay. Wow, look at that. Okay, cool. Okay. Turn around for 180. Okay. And then we, just a second, let me back up the original word parts. Okay, export. That's going to be a start. And this is going to be the end. Now what I do by moving them, I ensure that they're all at the center origin. Okay. Let's see, road end, re-import. start, re-import, and road test, re-import. Of course I didn't I never exported it. Let's try that again. And now what you have is a deeper version of the road. And this is the exact reason why you normally don't do the things that I did. Just a heads up. At least I think this is the reason. Maybe it's not the reason. Well, it's not the reason. Yeah, it is. It's totally the reason. Now you're kind of seeing why I fused the two systems together, because having a lower amount of meshes is going to be really obvious about the amount of meshes. And the ability to add more of them is going to help out, because else you would have to make a dot before for every mesh. So this is going to be a nice 7 mesh spline, and if you were to have 30 meshes in there, you'd have 30 points. But yeah, let's ignore that for now. What you do have is this awesome road thing, which is exactly what I wanted. You can just, you know, create an overhang, something like that. You can add some rocks, or you can even excuse the, you know, because I think this is the same system. You can just create all kinds of trees and stuff. Then, excuse me while I quickly drag this over here. Also, I didn't have time to actually make some more assets, so and this is just for you know, testing purposes. But It's more to get the point across. Stuff you can make with this. Go on. Just make it a little bit more flatter. How to use one asset for your entire scene. 101. Lazy as anything. So just a little bit flatter. And then we're gonna turn that around again. Or actually even better, we're gonna even give it a very bold negative 0.5. Actually negative 2. Go for it. Full reckless abandon. Turn around to break up the shape. You know, tricks like that. And there you go. So of course you need to spend a little bit more time on it if you want to make it extra, you know, really look neat. But this system allows me to determine a path really quickly and then fill up the gaps with other assets. But the general idea to actually create a movable space, that doesn't change. And then I can even say, well, you know, I want you to start from here, but then I want you to cut in, and then I want you to, I'm gonna save this in case this breaks. No, I don't want to delete that. I delete the nodes that had values attached to them. Of course, that's gonna shift things. So I'm gonna put out 0, 0, and 0. And this generally works better if you actually start a new one. But I'm just a little bit on the, easygoing side here. But then you can even just and this is the problem that we're seeing again with the tangents not lining up perfectly. There, it's better. I'd want to give that a little bit more space. Just even that out a little bit. See? And that's how you can, just really fast create your pathways. And then at the end, you can make a landscape and then fill up all these holes, or not, if that's your thing. And then you can just stuff like that. So that's kind of it. Of course, default materials, one rock, but if you have like 5 rocks, you're good to go. It's gonna be easy. And the same thing with the trees, right? I mean, you can just, I know. Well, that's a mesh. That's also something. Once you're done with this, Unreal has the ability to actually fuse your merge your actors. Here, merge actors. And what it's going to do is, if I copy this, because now it's a spline and splines are expensive. But if you merge actors, right, so it's going to ask you, what do you want to do with it? Okay, I say merge actors. Okay, merge, blah, give it a name, sure. Alright, give it a name, merge stuff. And then it should be here. And then this can be removed. Now these look the same, but they are not the same. This one can be moved. And this one can't, because you also don't see the white line between them with the numbers. This one doesn't have it. This is a solid mesh. This is one singular mesh. And what you can even do is you can go to its properties and you can give it a automatic lot system. So I want it to generate lot. How do I do that again? Let's see. Lot group. Lot import. Number of lots. I want you to have, say, I don't know, go wild. Have 4 of them. Apply changes. Okay. And then it kinda, you know, I think it should already have fixed it. Not yet. Did I still need to do something for it? Okay. Yes. You can see that as I increase my distance, it's gonna get less heavy to draw because it's gonna have a simpler mesh. Like, I'm not gonna necessarily see it, but you are gonna see here on the upper left corner of the viewport, you're going to see the lot number. So it's currently a lot 2. You're going to see the screen size, you're going to see the amount of triangles and vertices, all that stuff. Now the triangles and the vertices are going to change. See, now it's at 5 and now it's at 2. It's a really nice, there. Now we can see it. So it's 5, 2, 1 even. Oh, and lot 0, of course. This is the maximum. And this is right on top of it. So if you save that, then this mesh is currently optimized. And you can see that it shows the gaps because, you know, that's what lot changes do, especially if you do it automatically. If you do it by your hand, you have a little bit more control on that. But this means that the farther away you're gonna get from the model, the easier it's gonna be for Unreal to draw if it draws it. And once you're really up close to it, it's gonna be there at maximum detail. So that's also something really, really fancy. And then you can just, you know, drag your let's see. This obviously is the right one. Yeah. So imagine this being a, you know, really awesome quality tree thing. Which is having a bit of a problem. But this is the older system in place, so meh. I intend to eventually update the system with the road system, because that one also has banking. Not that I'll probably intend to use it for trees and stuff, but hey, you know, can never hurt to have it. Now, I'm not entirely sure why the canopy is so incredibly flat-nosed. Yeah, anyway. But yeah, let's just imagine that is a super awesome model tree and not at all the placeholder crap that it is at the moment. That's of course. Yep, no. Figured it out. Yeah, it's still pretty hectic. Okay, let's just stay like that. But yeah, if you were to have like a palm tree or you know, any kind of tree, you could just model it and then put it in there, and then you'd be good to go. So that actually, let me check my notebook real quick. Concludes the spline editing. Because I did have a couple of ideas that I want to experiment with, but I see it's already late, so probably won't be having any time to do that right now. But the ideas that I still had was alright, in regards to the tree, have control over some of the points. Now I'm gonna have to look at the road here. Say if I were to have point 2, then I would like at point 2, if this was a tree, so this thing, say this would be point 2, and I want to create a branch, like you know, an intersection, or it splits up. Right now I don't really have a model that can do it. I mean, regardless of the fact I don't have any tree models here at all. But what if I want to have control of it? I could actually, with this, let's see, where is it? Oh, well, it doesn't have it. But I could store that data in this thing, right? I can even still do it. Let's see. This one here, value. I would like to add a value. Can I add one? Yes. So it's a boolean. Alright, I want it to is branch point. Okay. I save it, and the default value is off. It is not a branch point. Now if I recompile this the script, I'm gonna see that all of these nodes 0 to 6 in this case, they all gonna have this value is branch point. If I say it to yes, then I can determine per point if it is a branch point. So I could say, I could take point 2 and say it's a branch point and have a different mesh replace the area, and then be able to do stuff with that. Now if yeah, the other idea that I had, it's going to be a little bit trickier and I'm going to leave it for now, but that would be determining a material change depending on where a model is in the overall length of it, because we can also determine that with the division this. But that's something I'm not gonna mess around with today. What I can mess around with maybe is let's see, collapse nodes. Gonna call it trash. Let's see. Oh yeah, we wanted to be able to say you're gonna have a different thing if let's see. I can work with this because the current loop index is already being used. Loop index, so it's already going somewhere and it's going to be stored as local current loop index. So this value is already in use and it's not going to be handled anywhere else. So I'm gonna take this one. Okay, so warning. It's gonna be something I'm gonna try out real quick. And I'm gonna see how it goes, and if it's gonna be a mess, I'm likely not gonna be able to finish it today. Okay, so we have a row data array. Then we can take the data from it, I think. Right, how's it using itself here? Oh, right, here, get at point, and then it automatically adds the thing. So get a copy, and I want it to and this is what we mean with spaghetti thing. Because if I'm trying stuff, it usually turns into this this funny little thing. Okay, so I compiled and I split the struct bin, and I have this, and then it's going to be a branch. There we go. Okay. So this is the starting element, this is the end element, so we don't need either of those. We don't even need to look at them. We only need to influence this part. So we're gonna add this branch. If the branch is false, it's gonna continue right along this path. It's not even gonna look at anything else. But if it's true, I want you to was it? You know what? Just gonna get a starting point. That's the easiest and fastest way for us to see if this works. Doesn't matter if it's good. Doesn't matter if it's not good. Gonna see results. Compile, save. There we go. Okay. So we have. Let's take 0.4. Take 0.4. And then we're gonna see 0.4 the branching. It works, but it is showing the earlier bug that the entire formula that I explained at the start is circumventing, and we did not copy that one over. So what's it doing? It's taking the mesh that is number 4 in the array. So this start mesh, that's number 0. Then we have this one is number 1. This one is number 3. Wait, no, that's not right, because it the start and the end meshes are a different set. So this one is number 0, this one is number 1, this one is number 2, and here with the gap, that's where number 4 is supposed to be, or number 3 and number 4. So we have the formula, we can circumvent this. It's not a biggie. Let's see, we need to. Oh, wait, yeah, of course. No, we need to floor this one, and then we insert that one there, and then we feed the index to over there. And now we have the right mesh. But it is being a little bit confused on where to add it. Break link. Just gonna hard select anything. Oh, right. You can see the difference. It doesn't have a local loop index. So ugly this. I apologize in advance. Compile. It's already there. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna scoot this one over to the side for a moment so we can see. Okay, there we go. And we have branch point 4. Is a branch point? Yes. Is a branch point? No. Is a branch point? Yes. Is a branch point? No. Same for 3. Same for 2. Although I am not entirely convinced it's correct. Probably need to redraw it. Yeah, I need to redraw it, I think. Yeah. Delete it. Spacing 70. The spline's a bit finicky if you start messing around with any point that is in between. So you can add points to the end of it, but once you start deleting this point, I think the results can get a little bit unpredictable. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's interesting. I think this is a rounding error or something. Could be. Because it's grabbing 2 meshes. That one's 5, 6, and 7. So that's it. And then you can just, imagine if this was a tree model, you could make a model with nodes to which you could connect branches, and then you're good to go. So I can cross that off as well. So actually do that right away. Alright, so I'm very satisfied with this for today. I'm gonna be trying to set the mech model up and get those hours on it. So next stream hopefully it's gonna be, ready to go on the modeling department and not on the puzzling department. So that's good. Are there still any questions with regards to this stuff? Because, I've done a lot, but I don't know if there were still some things unclear or anything. That was, or if questions at all. Because I worked with the Unreal Engine, I worked with blueprints, I did some math, stuff like that. And then if something wasn't entirely clear, then I'd be happy to try and explain. Also, this is kind of cool. I'm happy with this. I mean, ugly tree notwithstanding. This reminds me a little bit of the old Unreal Tournament level with facing worlds with the 2 towers, and then you had this this pathway, this rock in between, and you had 2 paths going up, and then you would get over the top, and then the enemy would always be right in front of you. So that's kind of neat. Alright. Doing a stretch here. So, I hope this was still, you know, a very enjoyable stream. I'm gonna be signing off. The next thing in the next stream will be in a while. It will be on the 25th. It's I'll be on vacation for next week and the week after that. Or at least I'm gonna be leaving next week, and I'm gonna be having vacation for the week after that. So I won't be having any time to stream at all. But the 25th I intend to be streaming again. So yeah. And yeah, I haven't played Unreal Tournament in forever, but it was one of the games that I really played when I was a kid, and it always stuck with me. It was great, it was the best. But yeah, this is it for today. So you know, just gonna be let's see, where is my here. See, I even altered the ending screen, so as you can see, the next stream will be 2 weeks from now. I'm very happy to hear that you enjoyed watching this this spline updating work in progress, and I really enjoyed having you around. So hopefully you can you know, catch me at the start of a stream in the future again. That's that would be great. But yeah, in the meantime, thank you for your time, and have a great day and have a great weekend. And gonna be seeing each other again at some point, hopefully. Bye bye.